Hi, welcome back to the class. Today we'll be learning about some loop instructions. The programs that we have developed so far used either a sequential or a decision control instruction. In the first one, the calculations were carried out in a fixed order, while in the second one, an appropriate set of instructions were executed depending upon the outcome of the condition being tested. These programs were of limited nature because, when executed, they always perform the same series of actions in the same way but exactly once. Almost always, if something is worth doing, it's worth doing more than once. You can probably think of several examples of this from real life, such as eating a good dinner or going for a movie. Programming is the same. We frequently need to perform an action over and over, often with variations in details each time. The mechanism which meets this need is the loop, and loops are the subject of our today's class. Loops, the versatility of the computer, lies in its ability to perform a set of instructions repeatedly. This involves repeating some portion of the program either a specified number of times or until a particular type of condition is being satisfied. This repetitive operation is done through a loop control instruction. There are three methods by which we can repeat a part of a program. They are using a for statement, using a while statement, and using a do while statement. Each of these methods will be discussed further. The while statement. It is often the case in programming that you want to do something a fixed number of times. Perhaps you want to calculate gross salaries of 10 different persons, or you want to convert temperature from centigrade to Fahrenheit for 15 different cities. The while loop is ideally suited for such cases. Let us look at a simple example which uses the while loop. The particular flowchart is used for a simple interest problem, and here is the code for this particular problem. Let's have a few sample runs for this code. So these are the sample runs. Let the p value be 1000, n value be 5, and r value be 13.5. If we enter those values in this particular code, the program executes all the statements after the while 3 times. The logic for calculating simple interest is written within a pair of braces immediately after the while keyword. These statements form what is called the body of the while loop. The parentheses after the while contain a condition. So long as this condition remains true, all statements within the body of the while loop keep getting executed repeatedly. To begin with, the variable count is initialized to 1, and every time the simple interest logic is executed, the value of count is incremented by 1. The variable count is many a times called either a loop counter or an index variable. The general form of while loop is initializing a loop counter, giving a condition in the while statement, and within the pair of parentheses, giving the statements to be executed. There are some points to note about while loop. The statements within the while loop would keep on getting executed till the condition being tested remains true. When the condition becomes false, the control passes to the first statement that follows the body of the while loop. In place of the condition, there can be any other valid expression. So long as the expression evaluates to a non-zero value, the statements within the loop would get executed. The condition being tested may use relational or logical operators as shown. The statements within the loop may be a single line or a block of statements. In the first case, the parentheses are optional. For example, while I is less than equal to 10, I is equal to I plus 1. So as long as I is less than equal to 10, I keeps getting incremented by a value of 1. And this is same as while I is less than 10, giving it in a pair of parentheses, I is equal to I plus 1. As a rule, the while must test a condition that will eventually become false. Otherwise, the loop will be executed forever indefinitely. This is an indefinite loop since I remains equal to 1 forever. The correct form would be here, the first one. Instead of incrementing a loop counter, we can even decrement it and still manage to get the body of the loop executed repeatedly. This is shown in this example. It is not necessary that a loop counter must only be an int. It can be a float as well. Even floating point loop counters can be decremented. Once again, the increment and decrement could be by any value, not necessarily 1. Next, coming to the for loop, perhaps one reason why few programmers use while is that they are too busy using the for, which is probably the most popular looping instruction. The for always allows us to specify three things about a loop in a single line. Setting a loop counter to an initial value, testing the loop counter to determine whether its value has reached the number of repetitions desired, increasing the value of loop counter each time the program segment within the loop has been executed. The general form of for loop is for with initializing counter, test counter, and increment counter, and statements that has to be executed. Let us write down the simple interest program using the for loop. Compare this program with the one which we have done by using while. So this is the code for simple interest program using for loop, and this is the flowchart for better understanding. If this program is compared with the one written using while, it can be seen that the three steps, initializing, testing, and increment required for the loop construct have now been incorporated in the first statement. Let us now examine how the first statement gets executed. When the first statement is executed for the first time, the value of count is set to an initial value 1. Now the condition count less than equal to 3 is tested. Since count is 1, the condition is satisfied and the body of the loop is executed for the first time. Upon reaching the closing brace for, control is sent back to the first statement where the value of count gets incremented by 1. Again, the test is performed to check whether the new value of the count exceeds 3. If the value of count is still within the range 1 to 3, the statements within the braces of for are executed again. The body of the for loop continues to get executed till the count doesn't exceed the final value 3. When the count reaches the value 4, the control exits from the loop and is transferred to the statement immediately after the body of for. The following flowchart will help you in further clarifying the concept. It is important to note that the initialization, testing, and incrementation part of a for loop can be replaced by any valid expression. Thus, the following for loops are perfectly okay. Let us now write down the program to print numbers from 1 to 10 in different ways. This time we would use a for loop instead of a while loop. Note that the initialization, testing, and incrementation of loop counter is done in the first statement itself. Instead of I is equal to I plus 1, the statement I plus plus or I plus is equal to 1 can also be used. Since there is only one statement in the body of the for loop, the pair of braces have been dropped. As with the while, the default scope of the for is the immediately next statement after for. In the second type of program, here the incrementation is done within the body of the for loop and not in the first statement. Note that in spite of this, the semicolon after the condition is necessary. In the third type, the initialization is done in the declaration statement itself, but still the semicolon before the condition is necessary. Coming to the D type, here neither the initialization nor the incrementation is done in the first statement, but still the two semicolons are necessary. In the E type, the comparison as well as the incrementation is done through the same statement. I plus plus is less than 10. Since the plus plus operator comes after I, firstly the comparison is done, followed by the incrementation. Note that it is necessary to initialize I to 0. In the last one, both the comparison and the incrementation is done through the same statement. Plus plus I is less than equal to 10. Since plus plus precedes I, firstly the incrementation is done, followed by the comparison. Note that it is necessary to initialize I to 0. Next, going to nesting of loops. The way if statements can be nested, similarly whiles and fors can also be nested. To understand how to nest the loops, look at the program given below. When you run this program, you will get the following output. Here, for each value of r, the inner loop is cycled through twice, with the variable c taking values from 1 to 2. The inner loop terminates when the value c exceeds 2 and the outer loop terminates when the value r exceeds 3. As you can see, the body of the outer loop is indented and the body of the inner loop is further indented. These multiple indentations make the program easy to understand. Instead of using two statements, one to calculate sum and another to print it out, we can compact this into one single statement by saying printf r is equal to %d, c is equal to %d, sum is equal to %d, slash n is used for going to the next line, comma r, comma c, comma r plus c, where the r value comes in the place of %d, c value comes in the place of %d after the c is equal to, and r plus c value comes in the %d after the sum is equal to. The way for loops have been nested here, similarly, two while loops can also be nested. Not only this, a for loop can occur within a while loop or a while loop within a for loop. So with this, we come to the end of this session. In the next class onward, we will learn of more complex repetitions. Thank you.